one of the most important things. I mean, it is the most important thing in wrestling is your foundation, and that foundation is your stance, okay? It's something that you're constantly developing throughout your entire career, whether you're a 4-year-old, a 5-year-old, a 6-year-old, or you're a 28-year-old, okay? Stance is key. It's a big thing that changes the difference of how you're successful at the next level, okay? So when you go from high school to college, your stance and position is crucial. And then when you go from college to the international circuit, it's even more crucial, okay? So you can't ever spend too much time on your stance, okay? Like I said, it's your foundation. If it's built on a crummy foundation, your whole house is going to fall down, okay? Now, I like to think of my stance as offensive and defensive. I'm not going to even change it up, okay? So everything that I'm showing you is going to lead into moves. You know, everyone talks about a square stance being a defensive stance, but it's also an offensive stance because I could sprawl from it and I could go behind you. So it is kind of turns into offense. Staggered stance might show a little bit more that you're shooting, okay? But we're going to work on some simple drills that you can work with a lot of younger kids and even with older kids. You know, stance in motion is, it's the ultimate visualization drill, meaning you don't need your partner to do it. I remember when I was training in college or high school or even younger, I had quite a bit of imagination. So I'd love to come up here at nighttime with the lights off and picture my opponent in front of me, and I was wrestling the biggest match of my career and just going through my stance in motion. I knew that when I could do a certain amount of time of stance in motion the way that I wanted to, I was definitely ready and well conditioned to go. People talk about running as conditioning, and yeah, that's good, but man, stance in motion, there's nothing like that type of conditioning. You're down in your stance, you're hunched over, you're learning how to breathe down there, and you're just building those muscles. So the first thing we're going to talk about from your stance in motion is just the two different types of stance. The square stance and the staggered stance. Okay, and there's a lot of videos on square and staggered stance, and I'm not going to get too much into the details, but I'll just show you how I teach the younger kids of how to get into their square stance. So from a square stance, we're kind of square, okay, here, well we are square here. I'm going to get my feet a little bit further wider, okay, than my shoulders. Now from here, I'm going to drop my forearms down to my knees, and now I'm just going to bring my hands up, okay. If you have kids that are having trouble doing this, okay, they're learning to wrestle for a first time, but something that they're familiar with is they watch baseball, or see baseball, or they play baseball. So I say to them, pretend like you're that shortstop ready to catch a ground ball. Okay, if you were that shortstop ready to catch that ground ball, how would you be? They'd be down here like this, ready to catch that ball. So that's the same thing as my square stance. I'm down here, ready to catch that ground ball. Okay, and that's my square stance. I like to keep my hands up here, real narrow, with my arms right here. I'm not out here like a mummy, and I'm just real tight right here. Okay, that's my square stance. Okay, staggered stance, all I'm doing is I'm just taking one foot back here. Okay, I'm moving from a square position to turning my foot out. Okay, and like I've said before in some of the stuff, and you'll see me talk throughout this instructional video, is that I'm not lined up like a track person. I'm not off the toe of my foot. Here I'm real wobbly, I'm real narrow. So if someone pushed me over, I could fall. Okay, this also promotes crossing my feet. So I'm turning that foot a little bow-legged. So from my square stance, I can switch to my staggered stance here. And if you can see my feet here, okay, my toe is kind of like lined up, measured with my heel. Here to here. I don't need a real long staggered stance. If I'm real long, you'll start to see that my head's going down. If I feel a shot, I'm already lunging for a shot. Okay, I want to keep myself kind of a little stronger by bringing that foot together. I give the example of lifting weights, okay, from a squat. I'm stronger when I'm squatting when my feet are more square and together. The more staggered I start getting, the more heavier that weight feels. Okay, so if I was going to do a squat from here, I'm not going to be able to do as much weight as I would from here, or even as I would from here. Okay, so from my staggered stance, I don't need to bring it too far back, okay, just enough to feel it. When you have your foundation of your square stance and stagger stance of just position of holding it, okay, now we're going to work from jumping from our square stance to our stagger stance. So from our square stance, I'm here, like I've said before, with younger kids, the analogy or metaphor of being that shortstop, of catching that ground ball, okay? I'm getting down there to catch that ground ball, and just bring your hands up, okay? It's okay if they're a little lower. What I like about that is that you teach kids how to drop their bottom rather than in their stance where they're hunched over their back, okay? So when I think about maybe catching that ground ball, they get their bottom down a little bit more, okay? And they're not here, so I'm here. Okay? Now, we're going to work on jumping from our square stance to our stagger stance. So all we're going to do is from here, I'm going to jump up, and I'm going to change. Here. Change back. And you could do this as a coach with a whistle, or you could do it by clapping your hands. Okay? So I'm square, stagger. Square, stagger. Square, stagger. You could get fancy and have them touch a mat to know that they're lower. Okay? Square, stagger. From a side view, here. Square, stagger. Square, stagger. As you can see on the mat, I laid out a T. I like to do this as a line drill for kids where they can work their square stance and their stagger stance. So they learn how to move from a square stance side to side to a stagger stance forward and backwards. Okay, so the point of the drill is here. We're going to start, we can start in the middle or we can start to the side. And we're working on shuffling our feet on the line here. So I'm in my stance and I'm shuffling, working side to side. When I get back to the middle, now I'm going to work on this midline here, moving forward. So now I switch to my staggered stance. Now for my staggered stance, I like to talk about moving the back foot, front foot. Okay, so back foot first, then the front foot follows. Sometimes I find that when you reach out with that front foot, you could get lunged a little bit too much and have trouble. So I talk about back foot, front foot, where I'm trying to keep that line in between. Now when I get to the top, I'm working on going backwards. Back foot, front foot. Here. When I get back to the line here, I work to the side. Side. Forward. Stance. Back. Here. Here. I can pick up the pace when I get a little better. I'm back here. Okay? The more advanced I get, I can move forward in my stance, my hand on the mat, and going back. Okay? So I'm really building those legs, building that muscle memory, working on my stance, working on my position. From here, I could be the coach, I could clap my hands, or I could blow the whistle, and I could add stuff to it. I could add a sprawl. So when I'm here in my stance, as I'm moving, if the ref claps, or if the coach claps, blows the whistle, my hands drop, I sprawl, I pop up. I move forward, sprawl, pop up, back, side, side, sprawl, pop up, forward, back, moving, okay? It's really tough. It can be tough, just not on you physically, but just tough to change directions. Wrestling is not just one spot, one position. It's all over, okay? You gotta try and find balance in your legs and your feet and strength in that. So we'll go on to an example of a younger person doing it. To show you how we work it with younger kids to do the T-line drill, Rocco will demonstrate. So Rocco, you're in your square stance, you're going side to side, and we're going to go forward. So when you go side, that's it, square, square, good, back, square, good, back to the center, good, now forward, back foot, front foot, backwards now, back foot, front foot, good, side, good, side back the other way, good job, flow, flow, come back to the middle, forward, that's it, good, backwards, good, break, shake it out, Good job. Okay, now this time, when I clap my hands, I want you to sprawl, pop up, and then go into it. Okay? So we're starting here. Ready? Go. Move it. Good. Hands up. Good. Back. Sprawl. Good. Pop up. Good. Forward. Good. Sprawl. Pop up. Backwards now. Good. Hands up. Side to side now. Side. Sprawl. Good. Get those hips down. Sprawl. Hips down. Good. Pop. Good. Good adjustment. Forward. Good. Now backwards. Good. Sprawl. Good job. Great. Shake it out. Well done, buddy. Now we're going to use this line to help us get angles on our opponent. I'm going to picture this line as the opponent's head. Okay? Meaning he's here in his stance. As you can see, that line is lined up with my head. Now in my drill that I'm working here, I'm going to work on the angles of getting to the different sides of the body. Okay? Meaning from here, instead of being head to head, I'm going to work on getting my head to the side of their head. Okay? Either their temple or their neck. And now I'm going to work on I call it getting off the midline. Here's the midline. So this is getting off the midline drill. So I'm here where I'm starting. My feet are in the center. I'm going to use my back foot to push, and now I turn. Okay? Now I'm off that midline, and I'm facing on an angle of my partner here. Now from here, I'm center. I'll work the other side. I'm going to take a step out to the outside, and I'm going here now. Now I'm working the midline or working the angle on this side. So from here, I can even use it as a jump. Here, here. Into them. Here, here. Work on my angles. So I'm not just moving forward through my partner, I'm working on getting an angle. So from here, this position, I'm in my stance, whether I'm square or whether I'm staggered. Here, I step, move, here. Okay? Square stance, here, here. I'm working at angle. So now I'm not just facing forward off the line, I'm facing into the line. Okay? Getting perpendicular to it. I'm here, I'm here. I'm into it. I'm here, I'm here. I'm here, I'm here. Okay? Working on getting to both sides of the body. Now you can do it as just a lead leg, meaning I'm always working my right leg forward, stepping here with my lead leg, or I can even change lead legs. From here, here, maybe from here to here. Okay? Maybe I like doing ankle picks with my left leg forward. Maybe I got different shots with my left leg forward. So I can always work on just one lead leg, or I can work on both. Here. 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 Working on both sides of the line. Working my defense from my stance, okay? The most basic defense, and one of the very first moves you learn as a wrestler is your sprawl, okay? I like to teach to younger kids. I don't try to get them confused much of a single leg sprawl, okay? Or just getting only one leg back. I like to even just teach it just by getting both feet back. If I get both feet back, then, you know, it's good enough that I can defend whether it was single leg or double leg or a high crotch. Okay, so I'm working on bringing both my feet back. To go into the sprawl, I'm not going to think about getting height and landing on the mat. Okay, what I want to do is work my level change to put my hands on the mat first, then sprawling and getting my hips down. And what I mean is this. I'm in that square stance from here. Now, I'll take it in steps with our kids. Okay, where it's square stance. I clap, where I blow the whistle, hands go to the mat. 2, sprawl. Okay, so now when their hands went to the mat, when they sprawl, their arms are underneath their body, their legs are back, hips are down, chest are up. Okay, just like in this stretch position here. Okay, I like to keep them here so I can go around the room and help correct them. Now from here, I'll blow the whistle and they can pop back up into their stance. Okay, so from that stance, I might blow the whistle and I go, or I call out numbers. 1, 2, 3, 4. Back up. Okay? And then as they start getting their rhythm, I'll pick that pace up on them. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay? Or as they start to really get it, I go, we're going to do the quickest one to the sprawl. and we're gonna stop in our sprawl. So I'll blow the whistle, ready, go, boom, and stay here. So I'm trying to look at not just the fastest person, but the person that did the steps correctly. Low on their level, getting their bottom down, touching the mat, and getting into their sprawl. Go! Okay, then we might work the whole step. Sprawl, pop up. Ready, sprawl! Sprawl! And back up. Now, you have the sprawl, and then you work a circle up from the sprawl. So from here, you work on getting your hands down to the mat, your sprawl. Now instead of popping back to your feet, I'm going to try and do a full 180 and end up facing the other side. I always try to give the analogy or the example of a gymnast on a pommel horse. You see where their hands are down, the head and chest are up, they have this arc like a seal, and they're spinning around that pommel horse. So when I'm here, I'm going to work on my spin. Here. And then up to my feet. Now if you have multiple partners or multiple coaches in the room, you might have a coach on the other side. And I tell them, spin, face the other coach. Okay, so we're in our stance, square stance, hands go down, sprawl, and now we're going to work on circling up. If you work going to the right, okay, what a lot of righties try to do, try to work to the left. I sprawl up to I circle up to my feet, right here. And then I can do it facing the back wall. Sprawl, circle, up to my feet. So now I'm working on being able to sprawl and spin behind my partner. Now we're going to gradually build your penetration step. Teaching penetration steps to an introduction of kids is something that's actually kind of tough to do. You know, of the level change, to nose diving, to understanding how to put their knee on the mat. So I like to build from the ground up. Okay, and this is also used in our warm-up, but it's just a way to help. So what I'll have them do is they'll start on both knees and put one foot up in a lunge situation. And now we're working on push and dragging. So I'm pushing, dragging over, dragging my back leg behind, knee going over, touching the mat here, and stepping up here. Now I'm going to the other side. I push down so that my bottom, my hamstring, starts to touch my heel. My knee goes down, and now I step up with that other foot. So when I'm doing this drill, okay, I like to do it a lot in the warm-up, but just starting to learn how to move on their knees. So I'm here. I'm push over. My hamstrings going to my knees, or my hamstrings going to my heel. My knee goes down to the mat. I'm push. I drag and I step. Push, drag, and step. Continuing on with the groundwork, we work that push and drag, staying down on our knees. Now we're going to push and drag up. So it's kind of like a kid learning how to walk. They got to learn how to crawl first. So we're going to teach them how to crawl first on their knees, and then we're going to work how to do it all on our feet. So again, we start on both knees. I have them put a foot up here. Now, as I push, that hamstring's in the bottom, the knee hits, drag. Now when you step up, instead of going into the next drag, we're going to push up into our square stance. Okay? So again, we're working from that ground up. I start on both knees, I put a foot up. I push, I drag, my heel is going to my hamstring, knee hits. As I step up, instead of going into it, I step up to my feet. You know, what's frustrating sometimes with little kids wrestling is just their strength. They don't have that core strength yet. So what seems kind of simple to you as older, and really, honestly, to tell you the truth, I can't remember when I learned a penetration step. I really, I'm not even sure if I was taught a penetration step. But it was a very humbling experience that when you walk into a wrestling room full of 4- and 5-year-olds and you're trying to teach them a penetration step, and you can't just show them a penetration step. You got to show them how to crawl that first so that they build into it. Okay? They don't understand how to level change. They don't know how to drop the knee. They don't have the strength even to push themselves up to the feet. They fall all over the place. It's all right. Just get them in the room, get them playing with it. So the second step of building that penetration step is I'm on my knees, I'm here. I push, drag, my knee hits the mat, I stand here, and I stand up. I've had a lot of, been able to go to jiu-jitsu seminars or jiu-jitsu type of deals, and there might be a 40-year-old in there and you're trying to teach them a penetration step. And you think it's hard for a 4-year-old to get it? I mean, a 30-something-year-old, and it's one of the hardest things to teach them. You might be able to teach them an arm bar or leg lock, and they can't do a penetration step. And it's kind of surprising because it's the most basic move. Okay? So, I push, drag, I stand up. Push, drag, stand up. Other side, push, drag, stand up. Okay, now we're on our feet into our penetration step. We learn the motions with our knees. We learn the motions of standing ourselves up on the ground. Now, how do we lower our level to get down there? Okay, so what I think about is you're in your stance. Maybe you have them jump to your staggered stance. Now I'm in that staggered stance. The hardest thing for people to do, whether you're older in jiu-jitsu or whether you're a 4-year-old or a 5-year-old, it's getting from up here, down there, and back up. So you'll see a lot of kids nosedive here and fall over. What I gotta do first is I gotta lower my level. And an easy way that I teach to lower the level is all I'm gonna do is I'm gonna drop my back knee to the mat. And look what position we're in. We're back down to our knees. Now, as younger kids, before they get into learning their leg attacks, they might just drop their back knee down and then go into shot. That's all right. They're learning how to level change. They'll iron all that stuff out when they get older. So from here, I'm in my stance. I might switch to my staggered stance. I drop my knee to the mat. Now you'll see my chest is on my knee. I'm down here. Now I'm not so high up so that when I drop down, everything falls to the mat. Now I'm here. Now I can push and drag up to my feet. Other side, stagger stance, back knee down, push and up. Here, here. As you start getting better, your knee comes off the mat. Now right here, this is how I would take a shot. I'm here wrestling, I'm here. See how my knee drops? Low single leg, high crotch, sweep single leg, double leg. Bam, go through. Some of the greatest wrestlers in the world know how to level change. Whether you watch a Jordan Burroughs, or a guy named Stephen Neal, who was a world champ and played football for the New England Patriots. They lower that back knee down, and bam! Just straight power going through. So if you're having trouble with your penetration stance, whether you're a 40-year-old trying to learn for the first time, or you're a 4-year-old from the first time, start from the ground up. Now that we're on our feet, I'm up here, okay? Don't just fall over. Lower your level. Lower your level. Get that knee down. I don't care if you go here. Just learn that level change so you're not nosediving. Here, and then going. Okay? As you start to get that going, as you start to understand the mechanics of it, you can start to do it from motion. Whether I'm here in a stance, okay? Another way that I'm able to help teach from a square stance, you step forward. Now when you step forward, naturally that back leg falls. I'm not here when I step forward. Naturally that back leg falls, it gets a little bit lower. From here, and then I could go into that shot. So from my stance, I step forward. As I step forward, you see that back knee hits, and I'm up. I'm here. Here. Back knee falls, going forward. So as you get better, step, push, drag. Step, push, drag. Square, stagger, step, lower, push and drag. Square, staggered, step, lower, push and drag. When you start understanding the penetration step, lowering your level, then you get to learn how to move on your knees. Okay? A lot of those shots, of the straight shots, is a straight single leg, a double leg, a high crotch. Well, how do you start learning to sweep single leg? Probably the most effective move in wrestling. So you got to learn how to step and turn the corner. So what I start is, I start in the same position. Now instead of pushing and dragging, I'm gonna spin, I'm gonna turn, okay? Almost like my right hand is like the wing of an airplane. The wing of the airplane here, okay? And then when you see a wing of an airplane start to turn, it goes here and it turns around, okay? So I'm kind of like an airplane here, and I'm turning that corner, okay? The more sound effects you use with kids, the better they understand it too in some way. So when I'm here, it's like this wing of this airplane. I'm gonna move my heel, or my hamstring is going to that bottom of that heel of the shoe, and now I'm making that plane. My knee hits, and now I swing this back leg. Plant that hand, and I'm grabbing here. And when we get into the technique, you'll understand what I'm talking about. So I'm here, I step, and I'm swinging that hand. Here, knee goes down, swinging this back leg. A little bit faster now, here. Okay. That wing, that arm is going down and hitting the mat. So from here, I'm swinging, twisting my hips, right here. And I'm working both sides. I'm here, and I'm swinging. Around. So a lot of times in a warm-up, okay, I might have the kids walk on their knees, work on their penetration step. And as they're going, now when you start to go, walking forward, here. Then when you get that feel for down low, you bring it back up. I'm here, stagger, step, back knee lowers. I don't care if you go here. And now I'm working that corner. Oh. Stagger, step, lower, and now, same thing from down here. I'm doing it from here. Shoom, swing. Swing single, sweep single leg, whatever terminology you like.